Hi! Today we are talking about shadow puppets made out of things found in your home in 2 different sizes. But first, some context. This is in connection to my doll's house project that I started working on last week, so if you want some background on that, you can watch that video. Next week I'll be putting out a video about making Torvald's costume, and then the week after that have the final scene up for your viewing. Hopefully lots of viewing and sharing and liking. The first thing you're gonna want to do is draw what you want your puppet to look like. Keep in mind that anything you draw is going to have to be cut out. So you can see that I drew some details that after cutting realized, like this part for instance, I wasn't going to be able to cut that out very efficiently. So I had to lose that detail, which is okay. Just a thing to keep in mind. And also, any line you draw, you're not actually cutting out that line, you're cutting out the space around that line so that that line is what shows through in the light. What I've learned about shadow puppets, the more pieces they have, the more elaborate and lifelike you can get the movements, but also the harder it is to control and to construct. So mine, technically this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 piece. Some people also separate the hand so you can be more directive about where the hand's going. Some people make legs. I choose to keep this simple. Each joint needs to be attached in a way that when you control it with your control stick, you can have full mobility. So it's just a button, make a knot on the back, go through, sew. The important thing is that there has to be just one access for this to go on. So you go in, you go through both layers that you want, you bring it through the second hole of the button, and then you go back in the same hole and then knot it in the back. And for my control rods, I just used paintbrushes. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think she looks kind of spooky and haunting. I actually want her to be not quite human size, but like 3/4 of a human size. So my next step was to make a giant version of her. Same design, just larger. I found that by making her larger, I got to do a little more detail, which was fun. A method that I found helpful with this one is, since she was so large, I have a button on this side, and then the back also has a button. So it's 2 buttons going through that I just sewed together on one axis going through. She is mounted on a yardstick because that's what I got. I also found that I didn't have a piece of cardboard that was actually this large that didn't have folds in it. And the problem with those folds is that when you set it up like this, she would bend over. So pretty easy fix, just kind of a lot of work, is cutting smaller pieces of cardboard, and you just go along those lines and create supports so that she doesn't bend over. This puppet is useful for creating something large enough to interact with myself acting, so that it's not like a person with a toy, it's a little more like a person and a person. I'm very excited to do this. Oh my god, look at her hand, she's so sassy.